Welcome back. Today we're going to be talking about adding and subtracting rational numbers. So let's review what are the key concepts. Basically, the rules for adding and subtracting rational numbers are the same as the rules for adding and subtracting integers. So if you're not sure how to add and subtract integers, I would highly recommend watching that video first and then coming back here. In terms of what's the difference between an integer and a rational number, an integer is one of the counting numbers or its opposite, or its negative version. So numbers like 1, 2, 3, and 0, and -1, -2, -3 are integers. Whereas rational numbers are any number that can be written as a fraction. So any number that can be written in the form a over b, where a and b are where a and b are integers and b is not equal to 0 would be an example of a rational number. Now that said, a number does not have to be in fraction form to be a rational number. In order to be a rational number, it must have a fraction form that it could be transformed into. So here's some examples. The first one is 3/4 plus -1/4. So for this one, what I'm going to do is I'm first going to take a look at the signs here. We're adding a negative number, and recall from the adding and subtracting integers video that adding a negative number is the same as subtracting. So this is going to be 3/4 minus 1/4, like that. And then recall that how do we add or subtract fractions? Well, we add or subtract the numerator, so 3 minus 1 gives us 2, and then the denominators stay the same. So the answer is 2 over 4. Also recall that we can reduce a fraction whenever the greatest common factor of the numerator and the denominator is something other than 1. In this case, the greatest common factor of these is 2, so we can divide both by 2 to get that 2/4 is the same as 1/2. So therefore, 3/4 plus -1/4 is equal to positive 1/2. All right, let's do the second one. 2/7 plus positive 3/7. Well, if we're adding a positive number, that's just the same as adding. So 2/7 plus 3/7. Then we add the numerator, so 2 plus 3 gives us 5. Then the denominators stay the same, so the denominator is 7. Last but not least, we have -3/8 plus 5/8. So for this one, we'll add the numerator. So 5 plus -3 is the same as 5 minus 3, so that's going to be 2. And then the denominator stays the same. That will be 8. Now if we divide numerator and denominator by 2, we get that 2/8 is equal to 1/4. And so therefore, the overall answer is 1/4. All right, here's some more examples. Now, I will say, even though these are not in fraction form, these are either integers or decimals that terminate. And decimals that terminate or repeat can be written as fractions. It's only non-repeating and non-terminating decimals that cannot be written as fractions and therefore would not be considered rational numbers. So first we have 3.7 minus -10. Well, minus a negative number is the same as adding, so this will be the same as 3.7 plus 10, and 3.7 plus 10 is 13.7. Then we have 8.3 plus -4.5, and again, if we add a negative number, that's the same as subtracting, so this would be 8.3 minus 4.5. And it's at this point that we have a couple options. We could either use a calculator to figure the answer out, or we can write it up here. So 8.3 minus 4.5, we're going to have to borrow from the 8, so cross out the 8, make it a 7. Then we have our 13 units. 13 minus 5 is 8, and 7 minus 4 is 3. So therefore the answer is 3.8. Next, we have -10.6 plus -2.7. So adding a negative number is again the same as subtracting. So this is -10.6 minus another 2.7. And whenever we have integers or rational numbers for that matter of the same sign, we can just add them. However, we need to have the number be the negative version because we are adding, or we're subtracting numbers in this situation, right? Overall, we have a negative number and then subtracting another number or adding or adding a negative number, whatever way we choose to look at it. So we can add these two values, but put a negative sign in front of the answer because both are negative. So 10.6 plus 2.7, that's going to give us 6 plus 7 is 13. 1 plus 2 is 3, and 1 is just 1. So therefore, this is going to be negative 13.3. And there we go. As always, if you have any questions about any of these examples, feel free to leave those down in the comment section, and we'll see you for the next one.